Hi, welcome to Career Track. My name is Dominique Shepard, and this is part one of a four-part series to help you successfully navigate your next interview. We're going to be diving into topics that are just the basics of interviews, and then we're going to dive in a little bit deeper as the series goes on. So stay tuned. I really am excited for this journey. I'm excited to share with you my tips and tools to help you succeed in your next interview. Strategy number one that I would love to give you is to do your research. And I don't necessarily mean just research on the company, but I also mean research into yourself. Make sure you're going over your resume with a fine-tooth comb. Also add any really great things that you want to bring to the table and know your worth. Know what you can bring as a potential employee to this potential employer. And also do your company research. Make sure you really look into what the job is requiring, the background of the company, know its values, know everything that they stand for, know what they need. Also research any current news to bring up during your interview. This really shows the interviewer that you are engaged and you are really ready to dive into this company and that you really are invested before you even get through the door. I cannot tell you how much that means when you walk into an interview and you already know and have some knowledge and really grasp what the position means and what the company stands for and what they're really looking for from a candidate and what you can bring and add to that. Employers overall, when they do an interview and are searching for employees, are really looking for that great fit. So knowing what you can bring to the table, knowing your skills and your goal set and your values and how they match up with the company is really going to give them an insight to if you fit with the company. It's all about creating that right fit. And it's not just the right fit for the position, it's the right fit for the structure, the management structure, the culture of the company, just overall. So you want to bring your A game. You want to show that you are the best candidate because your skills align with what they're looking for. With doing your research, also really take a fine-tooth comb look to that job description that you are replying to. It really helps when you know it back and forth to what is required for the job and what it actually entails. Also, this is a great checkpoint to make sure that anything that you don't understand, that you're bringing those questions forward when they're asking you if you have any questions. It's really great to have some background knowledge about what the position entails and really have a concept as to how you can fit and also what your requirements you bring to the table meet what they're looking for. So a large part of nailing an interview is actually just being comfortable with interviewing overall. And the best way to do that is to practice. I mean, practice makes perfect, right? So what you want to do is you want to grab a partner, whether it's your friend or a professor or someone that you're really close with, and really run a mock interview with someone that's going to ask you questions and you're going to be able to kind of role play. And this is going to give you a chance to make those mistakes that you otherwise would make in an interview, but you can kind of have a way to reiterate yourself, really tailor yourself to what you need to say, fix any corrections that you need to make. Also, one great tip that I use myself is actually to record yourself. Ask yourself questions, record how your answers are. This gives you a way to know how to tailor your answers best and maybe use descriptive words. Also, watch out for your ums and repeating words. It really does take a really big turn when you are consistently using the same word and you are really not challenging yourself to open up your vocabulary. You want to make sure that you're using all types of description words to answer questions, to run through scenarios, to everything when you're interviewing. The best way you can showcase your stuff is to be able to bring really vibrancy to what you're talking about and to know that you are knowledgeable about everything that you're talking about. So in addition to practicing interviewing, I want you to practice running story scenarios. Practice getting stories together, and this is really for your behavioral questions that'll come up, and behavioral questions are more like, what would you do in a scenario if, or what did you do in a time when? And this will really help you become comfortable with those types of questions. Those are the type of questions that people tend to stutter on a little bit. They tend to get a little frightened. And really it's not, it shouldn't be uncomfortable at all, because it's all scenarios that you know, and it's all things that you have gone through. All you have to do is really recollect that energy and really remember what those scenarios are that you went through and apply it. So the more practice you have with this, the better that you'll answer these questions when they come up. Are you aware that it takes about 7 seconds to come up with a first impression of someone? Not many people do, and that's why it's the most important step of making your job interview the most memorable and positive experience. You have 7 seconds to impress a recruiter or a potential interviewer when you are walking through the door. And this means that it is pretty much everything that you have. You have to really bring your A game. So that includes arriving 30 minutes early to the destination itself and being at least 15 minutes early to the actual destination as far as your reception area or where you're supposed to meet for your interview. You only have a short amount of time to make this first impression, so it has to be everything. Your handshake should be firm and it should be clear and concise what you're there for. Your energy should be high, and it should be something that they feel across that room. They feel that you're ready to do it. They feel like you are ready to be in this interview. First impressions are everything, so really take that strongly. With your first impression, make sure you're dressing appropriately. Now, most interviews will have a dress code in the pre-interview email that they'll send you to confirm everything. A lot of times it's either business casual or business professional. If there's not a specific dress code, just make sure that you're at least dressing business casual. Now, if you're in a job interview that is a little bit underdressed, that's perfectly fine to be overdressed, just as long as you're not too overdressed. You want to make sure that you're fitting into the setting and the culture of the company, but you also want to make sure that you're presenting yourself correctly. This will really tailor yourself to be an appropriate candidate for the position. Now, not all interviews are in person. A lot of companies use telephone interviews or Skype interviews as their first time interview to meet with a candidate. So there are special rules that you'll need to follow for this as well. For a phone interview, you'll need to make sure that you're in a quiet setting, that you're able to prepare yourself, and you need to take your time when reviewing your answers and replying back and answering questions. With Skype interviews, it's all about the location as well as your background. You want to make sure you have something that is appropriate. You don't want any background noise around you, and you want to make sure that you're looking directly into the camera, not into the side lens or anything else. You want to make sure you're looking directly at the camera, because that is your eyesight right there. And that's a little bit different than you would be if you're walking into person. However, if you're doing an in-person interview, you want to make sure you're making direct eye contact as well. Along with a great first impression, make sure that you're leaving a great lasting impression. So closing up the interview, make sure that you know all the steps that are coming after that. Ask questions that are informative and also giving you insight to what the next steps will be of the hiring process. Also, make sure when you're leaving that you're really giving a lasting closing statement, that you're saying thank you for their time, that you're really recognizing that they took time out of their day to interview you. Also follow up within 24 to 48 hours with a thank you, and that's either via email or via note. Now, it's really not that common, but it means a whole lot if you write a handwritten note. In my experience, I have a stack of thank you cards for interviews, and I just kind of pre-write it. Your interview thank you should state that thank you for the time that you're there, also letting them get a little bit of a reminder why you're the best candidate for the job, and just wrapping it up that you'll like to hear from them soon and that you'll be looking forward for their call or email. This is really important, and it really just seals the deal. It also reminds the recruiter or interviewer who interviewed you that you are the great candidate that they interviewed like you are. Thank you for watching. Again, this is part 1 out of a 4-part series to help you interview smarter and get you the job that you would like. However, this is a long process and it really does take work. So you want to make sure that you're taking time to really delve into this. It does take time to get through the hiring process, and it takes time to be a really great candidate. So put your effort into this. It's well worth it. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below. Also, like and subscribe for more content. Again, this is part of a 4-part series, so more will be coming.